Hello everyone, Pedro here with CineMilled, back in the CineMilled garage, my favorite place. And today we got the car up on the lift because we are going to be talking about our newest key part of our vehicle rigging ecosystem, which is the new CineMilled Smart Starter. Let's get into it. Many of you might be asking yourselves, what the hell is a Smart Starter? Very simply put, it's a grenade, it's a potato, it's a spud. It's basically a starter, right? This is a speed rail starting device. So the reason why we call it the Smart Starter is because we have included a few interesting features into the design. Like many things in the rigging ecosystem, in the vehicle rigging space, it's a lot like a Lego piece, right? You can use it for one thing, you can use it for another thing. There are literally tens, let's say 100 different uses for a starter, right? But I'm going to go over a couple of them with you. So this is a very interesting, vital piece of kit that you should have at least a couple of in your rigging kit. At its most basic function, the starter gives you a starting point for your vehicle rigging. Many times this will provide you a very solid starting point, either rigged off the frame like we're going to be doing here just in a second, or off of another bolt somewhere in the vehicle, somewhere on the vehicle, or if you mount it to something else like a suction cup or even the top of a camera, right? You can do lots of different things, especially with our Smart Starter. There are other starters out there that you may have used, and most of them are very basic. They're just chunks of aluminum in the diameter of a speed rail with usually a female thread on one end. So this allows you to take a bolt and screw into the starter from the other side, usually sandwiching a piece of metal somewhere, all right, or it could be a cheese plate, for example. Or you can do a similar thing and go into the frame of a vehicle. The other way you can use this is if you have a bolt somewhere on the vehicle, you can remove that bolt, install a two-sided bolt, which we will be coming out with our version of that product. And so that gives you sort of a male thread sticking out. And then you can thread your starter into that, right? Giving you a starting point. So that's another way how rigging grips will use this on vehicles, is they'll create a male thread poking out of some thread on the vehicle, unless they have something like a frame rail, which they can come in from the other side and screw into it, right? So at its very basic level, that's how you can use a Smart Starter. All right, let's get into now what makes our starter special, what makes our starter smart. Very simply, a lot of starters out there have a fully round circumference. We actually cut two flat sides into opposing sides of the starter. Like other Smart Starters, the center hole is a 3/8 16 thread, but around it, we added a variety of options, right? The first option is we added a 1/4 20 thread, right? Because there are very popular sizes in the movie industry, a 1/4 20 and 3/8. And then in Europe, for our friends in the EU, we added M8, M10, and M12. So that now gives you 5 different thread options for going through and threading into the Smart Starter. Now, if we flip the Smart Starter over, we have another function. And we look at the other end of the Smart Starter, you will see a big hole. That now allows you to slide in a baby pin, right? You can use a 3/8 handle from a C-stand right here to lock it in place. You can use a 1/4 20 to lock it in place, your choice. This now gives you 5/8 rod coming out. Now, what you can do with this, you bet. Essentially, this gives you a way to create a 5/8 starter. If you have this on the frame of the vehicle, but you want to rig from here with 5/8, Then all you have to do is put a piece of 5/8 rigging rod, which we sell on our website in multiple sizes, or you can take a baby pin like you see here, slide it in, lock it in place, and you're off to the races, right? So you can now rig right off of here in the 5/8 side. Alternatively, this gives you a lot of other options as well. Essentially, if you have a baby pin on one side and then you have a piece of speed rail on the other, this really opens up a lot of possibilities to do many different things. Rigging, create an overhead goalpost, lots of different things you can do with this. If we flip this over here, you will notice they are different on both sides. The side with the logo will be the metric side. So here you will have M8, M10, and M12 mounting holes. So this will allow you, along with the flat surface, to attach this to different things, to attach other things to it. Again, it's like Legos, it's like an erector set. It's really, we want to just give you as much possibilities as possible to allow you to solve problems. There are many times where you may have to have a piece of 5/8 rigging rod coming off of this starter, or in our case, a baby pin. So if we now flip over to the other side, the side that doesn't have the logo, this of course is our Imperial side, our standard side, our US size. It's the 3/8 16, 1/4 20. We also added the airy locating pin holes. So this now allows you to put a baby pin on the side of your grenade starter, right? So this can have a lot of important uses. So right off here, you can start rigging. This could be your triangulation point. There's a lot of situations where this can be extremely useful. If you move this over here to the topmost mounting position, if you move this here to the topmost mounting position, you can still put a speed rail clamp here. There's enough distance here that'll allow you to put a speed rail clamp here. So this really opens up a lot of possibilities. The other use of these threads on the side is simply for installation and tightening. So I can thread in this baby pin after I mount it, and if I have a wrench on the other side and I want to keep the starter from spinning, which is something that used to drive me nuts with some of the other starters out there. There was no way to hold it in place while you tighten the nut on the other side. You would have to put a clamp on it and jump through hoops. Now you can just stick a bolt in there, or you can stick a baby pin, and then as you tighten over here, you hold on this side, right? And you can even, gives you a nice grab point for you to give it an extra cinch. So it provides a good way, an easy way for you to tighten the starter when you're using it. So we do make this and offer this in 1.25" speed rail sizing and 1.5" speed rail sizing, which is more commonly used in Europe, but you do find it here in the US, and this is slightly getting more popular. So that's basically 1.9 outer diameter and 1.66 outer diameter for the 1.25". Now, speed rail sizing is a very annoying and confusing subject. I made a separate speed rail sizing what the fuck video that's on our YouTube channel. I'll link it down below if you want to learn more about why we're calling this 1.25" when it doesn't measure that. So, but it is available in both sizes, and we will make a stubby version of this starter, a short version, which I'll show you why you want a slightly longer version and why you may want a slightly smaller version of this starter. So that pretty much covers most of the features of the Smart Starter, right? So to quickly recap, we got multiple mounting holes on one side, we got a 5/8 receiver on the other side, which allows you to go from speed rail to 5/8. We got metric on one side of the flat surface. On the other flat surface, we got standard or US sizing, quarter 20 and 3/8, and then we got metric and Imperial on the bottom. All this combines to give you multiple options in how you're going to use this starter. More importantly, it makes it so that you're going to be using your investment, using your starter much more often, because now there are many more ways to use it. Now, it's important to note at this point that this is the solid version of the Smart Starter. Coming very soon, in about a week or two, I hope, we are also going to have a hollow version of this same starter. So it's going to be slightly different. It's going to be hollow all the way to the bottom, and it's going to have a floor, and this will allow you to bolt through the starter into something, which will solve one of the problems I frequently have on a lot of builds. All right, so I think that just about wraps us up. I think we covered most of everything we needed to show off on the new Smart Starters. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm very active in replying to all your questions. But the other option you have is head on over to Facebook, where we have a CineMilled vehicle rigging and cinema camera car group. There are thousands of people on there, very experienced. It's a great resource. Show off your rig, ask questions, learn. So that's a good resource, so make sure to check that out. But all right, guys, keep an eye out for all the new versions of the Smart Starter coming out soon. For now, we have these in stock and ready to ship. This is the 4-incher. We're gonna have the shorty, and we're gonna have the hollow versions coming very soon. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.